Hey YouTube, welcome back to Dwayne's World. So I cannot believe today is the day. It's finally here. There's a lot I debated about. You want to find out what I'm talking about? You better stay tuned. Alright, so, I cannot believe today is the day. I am going to spray out the perennial rye. You know, I've debated a lot on this topic, on whether or not I should. I've looked at different videos, I've looked at different research, and everybody says you have to spray it out. So, why is spraying out the rye such a big deal to me? Why is it bringing on so much anxiety? It's not because I don't know how to do it or don't have the right chemicals to do it. That's not a problem. I can easily take care of it. The reason why it gives me so much anxiety is because of the fact that my Bermuda last year really struggled. In fact, let me show you a quick video here of what it looked like before I did that overseeding. All right, so I believe I shot this video in June of 2022. And as you could tell, you do not have to be a lawn enthusiast to know that my Bermuda absolutely struggled here. This was definitely one of my most difficult years and don't want it to happen again. All right, so as you guys can see there, I had a lot of issues with spring dead spot or just areas of my lawn that never quite filled in. Now, even if that happened again, this year I would have a different plan on how to take care of that. But even then, you know, because of the fact that I had a lot of shade in my front lawn and there was a lot of different issues going on there, you know, such as fungus damage or even maybe insect damage, you know, it really kind of scared me this year just because my lawn looks phenomenal. But let me show you a couple of things that I did that I think is going to absolutely help the Bermuda. All right, so let me kind of show you here. This part along the flower bed has generally struggled just because of the amount of shade that you get from the house. But not only the house, but also these queen palm trees have caused a lot of issues for me in the past. Now, as you guys can see, they are much more trimmed up this year than they were last year. And this is absolutely going to help get a lot more sun and heat, you know, into my front lawn, which is desperately needed. Now, even though it's not my tree, this palm tree here, I actually had taken care of as well. It's my neighbor's tree, and that really has produced a lot of shade in the past. But this year, I absolutely trimmed it back, and we'll have much better success and be able to put that much sun on the front lawn. All right, the other tree I want to kind of mention is this tree right here. This is an olive tree. What I plan on doing is I will cut it back a little bit more just to thin it out, and that will help be able to get more sunlight to the Bermuda. All right, so as you guys can tell here, it is absolutely beautiful. The color is absolutely on point. Cannot believe I'm going to spray this out, but I need to. You know, the last time I mowed, I went ahead and used my rotary mower, and I was shocked how well the rotary mower actually striped. It's a few days ago, but I had a lot of debris on the lawn and wanted to clean it up. Rotary mower did a great job of it. But now, let's go ahead and take a look at what we'll be using today for the final mow. All right, so this will be using today to mow the perennial rye. Now you may be curious, well, Dwayne, you used a 20-inch mower on the backyard, you're using a 25-inch mower on your front yard. What are you doing? Seems backwards if you ask me. Well, I can understand your point of view, but let me explain why I'm choosing to use this for my final mow with the perennial rye. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about this Mclane is the rear drive system. It does not have the drop wheel. It's just a series of tires. And that really helps on the perennial rye. In fact, this turned out to be one of my favorite mowers to use on perennial rye because of the fact that that rear drop tire does not exist. And it ultimately makes it so much easier when you're navigating and turning around on the perennial rye. The one thing you have to remember, perennial rye is not as durable as Bermuda. I don't typically have problems with my Bermuda when it comes to that drop wheel. However, on the perennial rye, I have left some rut marks in the past, and I really want to avoid doing that. The other reason why I really want to be able to use this mower today is because of the fact that I just backlapped. And as you guys can see there, the reel is looking pretty good. I did not put the backlap on video. Was not necessarily something that was planned at that moment. However, it's very similar to how you adjust any other Mclane by using the 1/2-inch bolts on either side of the reel here. Again, it's not as precise of a system such as the one on the California trimmer or a greens mower, but it definitely does the job, and I'm very excited to see how well this is going to cut the perennial rye today. right, so there she is. Last stripe action. Cannot believe it. But it is looking phenomenal. And look at that checkerboard. It absolutely looks great. Cannot believe I'm going to end up spraying this out, but it is what we need to do. And with that, let me go ahead and show you guys what I'm going to be using to spray it out. So what I'll be using today to spray out the perennial rye is I'm going to be using both Celcius and Certainty. Now, do I need to use both? Not necessarily. However, I noticed a little bit of POA that was popping up in the front yard there, and Celcius is not rated for it. So I figured, let me mix the two together, take care of the broadleaf, take care of the POA, and we'll be good to go. And with that, let me go ahead and mix up the combo. All right, so if you guys might remember from the last time I used my backpack sprayer, had a leak in it. So what I went ahead and did is I used the JB Welds that is actually meant for this type of plastic, and it absolutely did the job in sealing the leak. Probably went a little overkill because it was just a small seam, but that'll at least get me through until I get a new backpack sprayer. Okay, so this is the tip I'm going to go with, which is a foliar tip by Teejet. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below, but this is absolutely going to make a difference whenever you are applying any type of herbicide to your lawn. So this is everything I added to the backpack sprayer. It's 3.2 grams per gallon of water, so I added 6.4 grams here of the Celcius. I went ahead and added 1.6 grams of the Certainty. Again, that's the mix rate for 2 gallons of water. And then 2 ounces of the non-ionic surfactant, which will help everything be able to stick better to the foliar. And with that, let's go ahead and mix it up. I don't necessarily need 2 gallons. I really only need 1 gallon, but I'm going to use the leftover on my back lawn here to kill some broadleaf that had recently popped up. So that's why I went ahead and mixed the 2 gallons. Certainty also in the application chart does show you the mix rate for 2 gallons, so this just makes it a little bit easier. All right. So I think we are, all right, so I think we're good there. So one of the things I like to do is I like to cycle back some of the fluid back into the backpack sprayer. So that way, when I first release on the trigger, I'll have the full concentration of what I need in the actual tip of the wand. All right, so I just want to quickly show you guys here. This is my side project with the perennial rye. It has, for the most part, held on pretty well this year. I'm going to go ahead and leave this. I'm not going to spray it out. I just want to see what it's going to look like as we go into the summer months, how bad it's actually going to struggle in my climate. I think it's going to be a good indicator on whether or not perennial rye will live all year round where I live. If not, it's okay, because it was just a test. All right, so there she goes. All sprayed down. Ugh. The only thing that makes me happy is being able to kill some of the grass in my flower beds there. Outside of that, geez, I cannot believe I just did that, but it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. All right, so I got to be honest with you guys. Spraying out the perennial rye was absolutely one of the most difficult things I had to do when taking care of my yard this year. But it was something that had to happen. I guess it's fitting that this is season 2, episode lucky 13 here on Dwayne's World, that we had to go ahead and spray out the perennial rye. But you know, I talked about this early in the overseeding project. In order for me to recommend overseeding to somebody else that has a Bermuda lawn and wants to overseed with perennial rye during the fall, I have to be able to answer the question of what does the transition look like when you go back to Bermuda? And that's still the question I need to answer in order for me to be able to recommend this process to somebody else. If you were to strictly base it on how well the lawn looked, it looked phenomenal, and I was very, very happy with the result this year. However, going back to the Bermuda is going to be a crucial part of this overseeding project. All right, so as difficult as it actually was to spray out the perennial rye, I always enjoy making these videos for you guys, and as always, be excellent and party on.